I was shocked when I read this. Look, we all know the supply-demand picture for silver. There's more silver demanded every year than comes out of the ground or is recycled. But when I read this recent report that talked about one particular part of industry that consumes 20% of silver, I was floored. I want to read it to you, and I want to know if you think it's true, because if it is, and I'm not questioning, but if it is true, to me, this is new news and yet another reason why we feel good about our thesis surrounding the future price of silver. Investing in silver and gold can be difficult at times. I want you to know you always have a refuge here in the basement with me, where we can have some camaraderie and support for one another as we navigate these choppy waters. I'll put out a new video every day, something valuable about silver and gold. It would be my honor if you join me. Please subscribe to the channel and give the video a thumbs up. Here's the most recent set of numbers from our friends at the Silver Institute, who tell us that last year there were about 1 billion ounces of silver supplied to the market. The majority of that, 800 million, came from mining activity, the rest from recycling. But becomes fascinating when we consider that there was 1.242 billion ounces of silver demanded. So there was a shortfall of about 240 million ounces of silver last year. When we dig into the demand numbers, we see that industrial demand was about 550 million ounces. Investor demand, 333 million ounces. About a quarter of all silver was demanded from investors, and a sliver of that is from people in the United States. Now, back to the industrial demand. That's where it gets interesting. We know the whole story, right? Silver, critical in electronics. Silver, critical in photography. Medical devices, industrial uses, water purification. The list goes on and on and on. I have an article here from the Pickaxe, which talks about something else that I'd never heard or even really considered. And that's where it gets fascinating, guys. The amount of silver used by the defense industry. Because according to this data, let me read this to you. The use of silver in defense applications is a significant factor in global silver markets. The defense sector is one of the largest consumers of silver, and it's estimated that the defense industry accounts for up to, are you ready for this? 20% of global silver demand. So let's take a step back now and look at what we talked about earlier. Investor demand, total investor demand, is about 25% of the world's silver production. This is not too far behind, and I don't know about you, but I had no idea that the defense sector used that much silver. They talk about it being used in all types of weapon systems, bullet shells, missiles. Electronics, of course, there's a lot of electronics now being used by the defense industry. And we got something really interesting to consider also when we look at silver being used in the defense industry. I'm going to get that to you here in just a second. Missiles, right? Radar systems, night vision goggles, communications equipment. But this is where it gets really, really interesting. A lot of the silver that's used by the defense industry is destroyed. If there's silver in a missile, silver integrated into a bullet or any other type of ammunition, that gets completely destroyed and gone forever. I'd imagine some of it could be recycled from some of the other equipment. They talk about silver being a critical part of the C-17 transport plane, also the Apache helicopter. Sure, I would think that some of that silver could be recycled, but all that silver that's in any type of explosive type ammunition, once it's exploded, I would imagine it's going to be real tough to reclaim any of that silver. So when we talk about this big fear that we've been hearing lately, that investor demand for silver has been, waning and falling off a little bit of a cliff. We got to realize that the defense sector alone consumes, right? Doesn't just buy, but consumes almost as much silver as the investor segment alone. Hey, look, I remain optimistic on silver. Let me know what you think below. Let me know if you agree with those numbers or if you see something different. But when I look at what's going on, the big picture for the silver market, for the silver price, definitely remains intact. Thank you for joining me. Go watch a live stream.